Assalamu alaikum. This is Shahrukh Mujumdar welcoming you all to the English news from BTV Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Bangladesh seeks all-out cooperation to graduate from LDC to developing country. Chief Advisor calls WTO. Notun Kuri, a talent hunt drive by BTV makes a momentum in Chattogram cultural arena. Testimony in crimes against humanity case against 3 including Sheikh Hasina over July-August uprising continues for second day. Durga Puja to be celebrated in peaceful and festive mood, hopes Home Advisor. Israel blamed for drone attack on ships in Gaza aid flotilla overnight. And Bangladesh bowling first against India in Super 4 phase in Asia Cup at Dubai International Cricket Stadium. Those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus urged the World Trade Organization WTO to provide its full support to ensure a smooth transition for Bangladesh as it prepares to graduate from least developed country LDC status. Professor Yunus raised the issue during a meeting with WTO Director General Dr. Gozi Okonjo-Iweala on the sidelines of the 80th United Nations General Assembly at the UN headquarters in New York on Tuesday. He requested DG WTO's role in the upcoming WTO Ministerial Conference for meaningful outcome to assist countries on the path to LDC graduation, ensuring they are not adversely affected by the potential withdrawal of trade concessions of preferential trade access in developed markets. DG WTO assured of her all-out support. Bangladesh is expected to graduate from LDC in late 2026. Their discussion also touched on long-anticipated WTO reforms and current global trade challenges amid growing concerns over protectionism and a possible retreat from globalization. Professor Yunus echoed the call for comprehensive WTO reforms, stating the organization must adapt to lead effectively in a rapidly evolving global trade environment. Energy Advisor Fozul Kabir Khan, a special envoy of the Chief Advisor Lutfi Siddiqui, and SDG Coordinator and Senior Secretary Lamia Murshid were present. Later, World Bank President Ajoy Bongo met with Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus at the UN headquarters on Tuesday. During the meeting, they discussed various issues including the national elections in Bangladesh, country's economic reforms, and the return of stolen money. Besides, Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus met with Her Majesty Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. They explored innovations in the financial sector, including life and health insurance, as well as a restructuring of the global pharmaceutical industry, urging for more drug manufacturers to operate as social business enterprises. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus attends a meeting of public and private sector leaders on social innovation, mobilizing financing through social innovation in New York. The World Economic Forum organized the event. Later, the Mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, called on Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus at his hotel in New York on Tuesday. During their meeting, they discussed a range of pressing issues, including the upcoming general election in Bangladesh, reforms initiated by the interim government, the role of social business in sports and the Olympics, and global refugee challenges, particularly the ongoing Rohingya humanitarian crisis. The Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus had a busy day in New York on Tuesday. This was revealed by the Chief Advisor's press secretary Shafiqul Alam during a briefing to journalists regarding the Chief Advisor's various programs.
তো আজকে চিফ অ্যাডভাইজারের একটা খুবই ব্যস্ততম দিন গিয়েছে। ইউএন জেনারেল অ্যাসেম্বলির সেশন হচ্ছে এবং এইখানে উনি অ্যাটেন্ড করেছেন। মিশেল ব্যাশেলের সাথে কথাবার্তা হয়, ওনার সাথে WHOর ডিরেক্টর জেনারেল টেড্রোস আধানম ওনার সাথে কথাবার্তা হয়। তারপরে ওনার সাথে অস্ট্রেলিয়ান প্রাইম মিনিস্টার অ্যান্থনি অ্যালবেনিজের সাথে বেশ কিছু সময় কথাবার্তা হয়। পুরো মিটিংগুলোতে আমাদের আর তাদের মধ্যে যে মিউচুয়াল যেই ইস্যুগুলো আছে সেগুলো ছাড়াও ইলেকশনের বিষয় আসে, রিফর্ম আসে এবং বিশেষ করে অ্যান্থনি অ্যালবেনিজের সাথে বাংলাদেশি যে কমিউনিটি অস্ট্রেলিয়ায় আছে তাদের বিষয়েও আলাপ হয়। WTOর ডিরেক্টর জেনারেল এনগোজি ইয়োলা একটা ভালো মিটিং হয়েছে। ওয়ার্ল্ড ব্যাংকের প্রেসিডেন্ট অজয় বাঙ্গার সাথে মিটিং হয়েছে এবং কুইন ম্যাক্সিমা অফ নেদারল্যান্ডস তার সাথে কথা হয়েছে।
Earlier, Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus attended the inaugural session of the 80th UNGA session from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Law Advisor Dr. Asif Nazrul, Foreign Affairs Advisor Mohammad Tawhid Hussain, Energy Advisor Fawzul Kabir Khan and SDG Affairs Principal Coordinator Lamia Murshid accompanied the Chief Advisor at the inaugural session. Before this, Chief Advisor met with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, Uruguayan Foreign Minister Mario Lubezkin, former Chile President Michelle Bachelet, and World Bank President Ajay Bongo. The popular talent hunt show Notun Kori is returning in a new format. After being suspended for 2 decades, the show on Bangladesh television has restarted today with nationwide auditions. The audition began at 9 a.m. at BTV's Dhaka Center today. For the preliminary selection round, the Dhaka region has been divided into 3 zones, which are Dhaka 1, which consists of Dhaka Manikganj, Gajipur, then Dhaka 2, which consists of Naranganj, Munshiganj, Narshingdi, and Dhaka 3, which consists of Faridpur. Judges are awarding yes cards to contestants based on their performances in the auditions. The preliminary selection round will continue across 19 regions of the country until September 29th. After that, divisional level selections will be held. This year's competition is being held in 9 categories, which are acting, recitation, storytelling, comedy, general and classical dance, patriotic and modern songs, Nazrul and Robindra Sangeet, folk songs, and Hamd Nath. There are 2 age-based groups. Group A is children aged 6 to under 11, while Group B is boys and girls aged 11 to 15. Meanwhile, the audition for the Chattogram region of Bangladesh Television's popular competitive program Notun Kori started at the District Shilpakala Academy today. Auditions were held at 5 booths of the Shilpakala Academy from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The countrywide competition is being held on 9 subjects including acting, recitation, storytelling, comedy, general dance, classical dance, patriotic song, modern song, Robindra Sangeet, Nazrul Sangeet, folk song, and Hamd Nath. The first phase of the competition will continue till 29th of September. Contestants who receive yes cards at the regional level will be selected to participate in the divisional level. Testimony of the second day is being continued in the crimes against humanity case filed against Sheikh Hasina and 2 others over the July-August uprising. The other accused in the case are former Home Minister Asadujaman Khan Kamal and former Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamun. Special Investigation Officer Tanvir Hassan Joha appeared before International Crimes Tribunal 1 today to testify regarding evidence seized during the investigation. The proceedings, led by Tribunal Chairman Justice Muhammad Ghulam Murtuja Mujumdar, began around 1 p.m. 2 other members of the tribunal are Justice Shafiul Alam Mahmood and Justice Mahidul Haq Enam Chaudhry. During the session, the tribunal was presented with audio recordings of phone conversations between Sheikh Hasina and Fazle Nur Taposh, Hassanul Haq Inu and Maqsud Kamal. Earlier in the morning, Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamun was produced before the court. Meanwhile, the 5th day of testimony was underway in a separate case at International Crimes Tribunal 2 concerning crimes against humanity over the burning of 6 victims in Ashulia. Home Advisor Lieutenant General retired Mohammad Jahangir Alam Chaudhary said, holding of a fair election not only depends on law enforcement agencies, but on the people who have real power, and none has the ability to obstruct polls when people are election-oriented. He said while briefing journalists after a meeting at local Circuit House conference room in the city today. The meeting was arranged for exchanging views with the Deputy Commissioners of Chattogram Division, senior officials of the law enforcement agencies, and different government organizations. The Home Advisor said the preparation of the law enforcement forces for coming elections is going well. He said government has taken elaborate preparations for celebration of the upcoming Durga Puja in the peaceful and festive manner. Chattogram Divisional Commissioner Dr. Muhammad Ziauddin presided over the function. A harmony meeting with a view to continuing the trend of peace, harmony and development was held in Khagrachari with the participation of local dignitaries, businessmen, leaders of social and political organizations, journalists and representatives of various religious institutions and people from all walks of life. Religious Affairs Advisor Dr. A.F.M. Khalid Hussain was present as a chief guest in the meeting organized by the Shodor Upazila administration at the Upazila Parishad conference room yesterday. He said the identity of religion is not important. Important is the identity of humanity. He called upon everyone to live in harmony. Deputy Commissioner A.B.M. Iftekhairul Islam Khondokar presided over, while Joint Secretary of the Ministry of Religious Affairs Sadiq Ahmed, Army's Khagrachari Zone Commander Lieutenant Colonel Muhammad Kademul Islam and Superintendent of Police Muhammad Arifin Joel addressed the occasion. Now international news. Israel has been blamed for drones dropping at least 13 explosive devices on and near ships in the Gaza aid flotilla overnight, though there were no reports of casualties. Unidentified objects were also dropped on the ships, and a full assessment of the damage will take place during daylight hours today. The drone raid also coincided with a deliberate jamming of ship communications. The Global Sumud Flotilla described the explosions, unidentified drones and communications jamming as psychological operations designed to instill fear in activists involved in the aid mission. The flotilla said their resolve is stronger than ever. These tactics will not deter them from their mission to deliver aid to Gaza and break the illegal seas. The attacks took place as ships in the flotilla were said to be passing southwest of the Greek island of Crete. UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territory, Francesca Albanese, has called for immediate international attention and protection of the flotilla. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has called for an immediate halt to the war in Gaza. Speaking on Tuesday at the United Nations General Assembly in New York, Trump urged all parties to stop the fighting. NATO has issued a stern warning to Russia against what it calls an increasingly irresponsible string of violations of its member states' airspace, adding that it will employ military and non-military measures to defend itself. In a statement on Tuesday, NATO said its commitment to Article 5 is ironclad, the provision in NATO's founding treaty that commits all member states of mutual defense in the event of an attack of any one of them. The statement added that the actions were escalatory, risk miscalculation and endanger lives. They must stop. NATO's warning came following an emergency meeting called by Estonia after the Baltic country said its airspace had been violated by Russian jets. NATO's statement said 3 Russian MiG-31 aircraft entered Estonian airspace for more than 10 minutes before they were confronted and forced to retreat. The incident comes just 2 weeks after a volley of 20 Russian drones passed over Ukraine and penetrated Polish airspace, while Romanian fighters detected a Geran drone, the Russian version of the Iranian-designed Shahid, in their airspace. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday offered to voluntarily maintain the limits on deployed strategic nuclear weapons set out in the Lost Arms Control Treaty between the two powers, once it expires next year if the U.S. does the same. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Putin's proposals sounded pretty good, but that U.S. President Donald Trump, who has in the past expressed concern about the treaty's fate, would address the offer himself. 14 people have been killed and 124 are missing in eastern Taiwan after a barrier lake burst its banks amid heavy rains brought on by super typhoon Raater and has lashed Hong Kong with fierce winds and waves. Most of the deaths were elderly people and who were unable to escape the rising flood waters from Machians Creek Barrier Lake in Guangfu Township, Hualien Country. The Hualien Country Fire Department said on Wednesday 34 people were injured with rescue operations for the missing underway. The fire department said China has evacuated nearly 2 million people from the southern province of Guangdong as Super Typhoon Raater draws closer. A month's worth of rain is expected today in Zhuhai City as it hunkers down for the King of Storms, our correspondent Laura Baker reports. The equivalent of a Category 5 hurricane, Raater is the world's strongest storm this year. It has been roaring over the South China Sea for days, bringing heavy rains and winds to the Philippines, Taiwan, Hong Kong and southern China.